High school basketball coming out of that stage of his life, and he's still number one in our hearts. Chris, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you guys having me on.
So funny story, Chris, you told me one time, you said when you were younger, you played on the same, AAU team as Baron Davis, and people would come watch you, and you'd go, dude, watch him.
Yeah, that's 100% true. So back in 4th or 5th grade, Baron was on a team called K-Swiss, and his teammate was actually Paul Pierce.
Whoa.
And they were on this K-Swiss Los Angeles team, and I played for a team called PTI, which stood for Performance Training Institute. And we had some really good players too. We had Jason Hart, right? Played in the NBA, played at Syracuse.
What in the world?
Yeah, we had a bunch. It was a really good team. 2 best teams in Southern California for sure. And then we ended up recruiting Baron a couple of years later. And so he was really good. He was really small. And then I swear from 7th, 8th, 9th, everyone kind of forgot about him because he went to this really small high school called Crossroads High School in Santa Monica, which is actually a suburban town, like actors' children went there. Let's put it that way, right? And so everyone was like, "What happened to Baron? What happened to Baron?" And then his sophomore year, he's like 6'4", the athlete you guys all saw in the NBA. And I mean, I had kind of known, right, because we were playing AAU. And so we were really close friends all through high school and played on the AAU. And then we actually, there was a select team that went to Germany for the Albert Schweitzer games. And it was like Team USA basketball versus all these different countries. And I got invited to it. And I was like, you guys got to invite Baron Davis. Like because he always made me like a lot better, right? He got my guy by his guy, and I got easy layups and dunks because of BD. So I'm like, you guys got to recruit Baron Davis. You got to get him to come. And so we ended up going to Germany together. And I knew he was going to UCLA most of the time. And, I thought that I was definitely going to go play with him at UCLA. It just didn't work out, but he would stay with me. My parents basically took him in a bunch of times for the weekends when different tournaments. So BD would stay with us. And he's just a really good friend. And he was a fantastic player that no one really knew about until his like junior, senior year when he went to the All-American camps at Nike. And just blew up. And obviously UCLA had a 2-and-done career, an NBA all-star type, fantastic point guard career. But I'm telling you, man, if he was in the NBA at his prime, the way the guards are in the NBA now in scoring, that kid would be averaging like 26, 27 points a game. He was such a special player. So fun to be around. Absolute comedy to be around.
As payment for your friendship, he never posterized you, so that's good.
Oh man, I always got out of the way. I was smart enough to choose which guys to try to block and which guys to accidentally trip before I get the basket.
So lots to discuss with you. Let's start with this. This week, obviously, you wanted a game. There was no game to be had this weekend, so you guys are getting ready for a 2 for next week at Pacific and LMU. But the story, at least for us, was Gideon George's Deep Blue just really landed and connected with people. What's it been like to have him on the team, and what has he added to the program?
Such a special kid, not just a player on and off the court. He's added a lot, like his versatility on the court in terms of his length, his athleticism, his ability to guard multiple positions, his rebounding. He grabs rebounds. He's the only one who can go out rebound at times, Caleb, right? At the highest point. He grabs rebounds out of the air. You're like, where did that come from, right? And he's such a unique kid. Now he's still learning, right? There's times where, he's the best player on the court. And then there's times where, he's a little bit still learning, right? Still learning. And that's going to come, it's going to come from, it's typical. And so we're working with every single day on the court. He comes in and watches film with Coach Robinson or Coach Pope or Keegan every single day. And he now kind of, we had him in yesterday as a staff. And we were watching ball screen defensive segment from practice, and we're having him talk us through the defensive concepts and things like that. Like that's the kind of kid he is. He wants to, he's learning, he's soaking up, and then he wants to, vocalize it, right, and tell it for how he sees it. He's such a beautiful human being in terms of where he's come from, his story, which I think most of Cougar Nation and a lot of the rest of the country has seen, maybe even the world, right, on his Deep Blue. Just his background, the charity, his time out for Africa, and the things he cares about, what's important to him, and how he hasn't lost perspective of where he came from, and what he's trying to get back. I thought Brandon Goebel did an unbelievable job narrating and putting it all in perspective. I called Brandon afterwards. I'm like, I know Gideon's story since the day he got here in the States, and then from you, and I feel like I still learned so much watching that Deep Blue, and I'm around this kid for for every single day. Like I thought that's how well done it was. And so we're so grateful that we have him. I can't wait for the fans to be able to get back in the Marriott Center and on the road to be able to see Gideon live and see what such a special human being he is.
Chris Burgess with us on BYU Sports Nation, BYU basketball assistant coach. What role do you expect Gideon to play for the remainder of the season and as BYU tries to position for the NCAA tournament? Is he going to be a starter from now on?
Every game to game, right? I think that right now he's probably continued to start next week, and we expect him. We expect him to bring defensive energy. We expect him to run the floor, get on the glass, take open shots, make the right playoff ball screens. We expect him to give us the versatility that we need during certain lineups that we're playing against, right? Like there's certain teams, St. Mary's, if we end up playing them, or, even Pacific coming up, that we're going to need to switch 1 through 4. And Gideon has that ability to be able to guard at times 1 through 4, 1 through 5. And so we expect his role to keep progressing, to keep getting better and keep within the, the constructs of the team and provide the spark that we think he can do. But I'm telling you, he still has so much to grow. All of our guys do, but he still has so much to grow and get better and continue to learn and continue to be locked in on the game plan. And when he's doing that, and he's striving to be like the teammate he is, we're a better team.
There's 3 games left in the regular season, 2 weeks left after this one before the West Coast Conference tournament, which should be interesting. We'll talk to you about that in a moment. Do you guys want to get a 4th game on there, or you just hope the 3 that you're going to play are being played, and then you end up playing St. Mary's only once?
Yeah, how many games? It's just one of those years where it's like, all right, we have these 3 on the schedule, and let's just hope we can play those 3, right? Like, hopefully those don't get postponed or canceled or shut down. If you can get a 4th one that makes sense, right? Like, we'd love to, I know what guys would love to do it. We would love to do it. It's just all about, it's honestly about how much, what the game, who the game is, what quadrant it is. Does it make sense for us? Does it make sense for our team? I think the WCC, is looking to make up a couple games here and there. And obviously we have an opening or 2 to add that. And so we'll kind of see. It's just a really unique situation. I think everybody in the country is in, right? With cancellations, postponements, and now it's, trying to, how can we improve in the net? How can we improve in KenPom? And, what games make sense, right?
So what games do make sense? Is there a certain quad that you guys would hope for? Otherwise it doesn't make sense?
Yeah, I think a quad 1 makes the most sense, right?
So you'd have to go on the road?
You probably have to go on the road. Most likely, other than the Zags, there's no other really quad 1 in the at home game for us. And so you need to go on the road. Or you get an out of conference team that's a quad 1 that's willing to, a really slam dunk type conference team that's willing to play neutral, or willing to come to our place, a top 10 team, right, to come to our place, or again, you go on the road. Those are all things I think Coach Pope and Nick Robinson and Bobby Hordesky, who do most of the scheduling, are looking at. But again, it just has to make sense. And there's a lot of things, like some conferences are not going to allow any more out of conference games, right? And so there's those logistics too that you're battling with.
Does the WCC, are they cool with a non-conference game in the last 2 weeks?
I think they are. If I think they are. I think it helps. I know the Zags have been chasing some team. At least you read on Twitter, right? The Zags have almost had Houston or almost had Villanova, right?
In Salt Lake, right?
Yeah, that's what I read, right? And so you think that obviously the WCC would be fine with it. Where I think before, they're trying to make the games up. We're just running out of time. Right, we're just running out of time, and we're running out of teams. We've had some teams on pause.
Understandably,
so there was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Understandably, the approach as you get set for the West Coast Conference tournament is a tricky one, because we're hearing what Gonzaga is saying, like, we want to be healthy and get to the NCAA tournament. That's the big one. So where is BYU basketball mentally with the idea of playing in Las Vegas in the West Coast Conference tournament as of February 12th?
Yeah, honestly, haven't even talked about it. Haven't even talked about it as a staff, as a team. We've been kind of focusing on this week, and as this week, each day turns a page. Now we've been focusing. Sole focus has been on next week, Pacific, and then us getting better. I think I just don't know. Like we hear the rumblings and the kind of rumors, and even some of it's you heard Coach Few talk about it on SVP right after game. He's talking about the SVP show where he was talking about 3 or 4 teams up in Spokane. I think at one point, we just don't know, right? Like as far as we know, it's like the ADs and the presidents are going to get together from the WCC schools and kind of figure this out. And then you saw that, I think Rothstein tweeted out today that, our commissioner's like, no, we're full plan on having the WCC in Vegas. And so everything you guys are hearing, I'm hearing at the same time, right? Through our sources are Twitter, just like your guys. So it's just kind of all up in the air in terms of what could happen, but we haven't really even talked about it. We're just like, we got to take care of business at Pacific. And that's kind of been our focus.
And it's intriguing because, for Gonzaga, to me, it doesn't make sense for them to go to Vegas. No. Why would you expose yourself potentially to someone with COVID or a team, and then you're not ready for Indy or something? But I don't know how BYU feels about it. It sounds like you guys are just focused on Pacific at this point.
Yeah, we're focused. And I understand you got to understand Gonzaga's, where they're coming from, right? Because they got so much to lose. The WCC tournament's earlier, so there's time to recover. But who wants to stop practicing or stop, lose that rhythm of doing things because you're on pause? I mean, it's just. I can understand that too, right? So they just have so much. They have a lot to lose. They're going to probably most likely be a number 1 or number 2 overall seed, right? And so they have a lot to lose.
The good news is BYU's comfortably in. So are you ready for 7 negative COVID tests before you get to play in Indy?
Yeah, we are. I think we are. I mean, we're doing 3 times a week now. It feels like we're doing every day, but we're probably doing 3 times a week. And we just got to keep, we got responsible guys. I mean, anything happen, we know that. But our guys, we have a few married guys, which helps, right? They're not really going out. There's not much really going on, right? Other than their online classes here at practice. And so I think our guys understand, and we're doubling down after every practice about like COVID precaution, taking care of yourself, being smart. And, I think if we continue to do that and have a little luck, right, we'll get 7 in a row. And we'll see I think it's like, was the WCC tournament ending a little earlier? All right, maybe there's the chance to go out to Indy earlier. I don't know. I'm sure that might be in play too.
Yeah, they want
to just isolate yourself.
Yeah, they want some of the teams to get there, Saturday as opposed to late Sunday or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be an adventure. It's going to be crazy no matter what.
Coach, we've been discussing seeding as far as it relates to the NCAA tournament, best and worst case scenarios. Things that you clearly are not thinking about right now, but we are thinking about. So
they're always thinking about it. They're always thinking.
Okay, so as we see BYU projected to make the field, and right now most of the brackets have BYU as a 9 seed, if not an 8 seed. How much does that matter to you right now in terms of positioning for something like that? Because we'd love to see BYU climb the seeding line, but how do you balance that as you try and just focus on the next game?
That's a great question, and I don't know if I have the right answer, but the thoughts, I think we're grateful to be. First of all, it's a testament to our guys and the schedule we've had and the job they've done thus far in the season to have some quadrant 1 wins and some good road wins where we're being considered, like you said, an 8-9 seed as a credit to our guys. And so it's always fun to, see Lenardi put something out and projected this and, Greg Wrubell tweeting out all the different numbers and all the different things we've accomplished this year. And so, but at the same time, we know next game is going to be our hardest game of the year. And so we don't want to lose sight and focus on Pacific, who took us to double overtime here in Provo. So we try to you look at those things, but then you got to bring everything back to the team and the things we can continue doing, which is getting better, get a couple more road wins. And you never know, right? Maybe improve the net ranking, maybe improve the KenPom ranking, maybe improve the eye test ranking, right? By some of the people that do the committee of the NCAA. So I think that's what we're focused on is us getting better and us locking in on Pacific in our next opponent game. And if we can do that, right, then I think everything else will take care of itself. But, we see it. Obviously, we're on Twitter, we're on social media, and we watch SportsCenter and we see all the things that they're talking about. And it's exciting to be in that conversation, but there's still so much work to do, even though there's only 3 games remaining on our regular season schedule.
He's probably the best shooter on the coaching staff. He is Baron Davis's hype man.
Don't tell that to Cody Finger.
His name is Chris Burgess. Chris, it's great to catch up with you. We appreciate the insight into everything that's going on in this wild year.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys.
You got it. Chris Burgess on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why we show